Blessings, 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 everybody out there in the universe. My name is Shawn Myrie, and I'm your host of the Down to Earth podcast. Today, I got a great artist coming on. Yup, a legend in the game, in Toronto, to the universe. Not gonna waste no time. Tough Dumpling, Collision, coming through. Bless up to all of you. Yup, direct. Let's connect. Down to Earth. Coming through on that spaceship. What you saying, brother?
Yo. Just give me a
Yo,
sec. I'm just trying to get
it's
this
all right.
camera right. Yep. I'm
Mm-hmm.
right here.
Yo, I usually say this to everybody, but introduce yourself to the universe to those who may not know who you are.
I go by the name of Colizion, Tough Dumpling, Aki. I got so many names.
Yo, I
The,
know it's an honor.
the
It's an
classic
honor.
root Nefarious. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything right now, but Tough Dumpling is the main name. Cause I remember everybody says Biggie, but the album's called Notorious B.I.G. So I
True.
figured, it's Tough Dumpling, but you're down to call me Collision, whatever you know the flex is.
Yeah, man. I remember you. I remember like you're basically what I know because I don't care about saying my age 42 is one of the foundations of Toronto hip hop, the slang, how people are talking right now. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like I already know I have an idea of your resume already.
got
Like
you, got
so
you.
I would have to keep the younger youth them updated to what like about you. Like basically tell them when did you start your career, like really doing like, out in the public.
It was early 90s. Basically, yeah, I came up from Jamaica and, Delroy G?
Yeah.
That's my pops. So
Oh,
So you
yeah,
don't
so
know, you've been holding down the West Indian community for a while.
yeah.
So I used to just sample his records when I got my sampler early on, taking them all in
Yeah.
reggae dub plates and trying to like remix them and whatnot.
I could bet.
And then in high school, I met up with Quezro
Mm.
and met up with DJ Don D at some, I forget, it was some function that we met up on. But Quezro in high school, he was more like, I mean, he was more like the cool kids. He hang with all the cool kids,
Yeah, I
and he
see.
was like
Yeah.
the slang. And
Mm-hmm.
because I was fresh off the boat, in the '90s, people don't realize if you were fresh off the boat, you didn't you had a
Freshie.
different crowd. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you're in the cool kids hip hop club, you don't hang with the freshies. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah.
But I think what happened was I used to do the morning at school announcements, and I used to
Mm.
rap it. So every morning I'll get on the morning announcements and I'll rap. But what I'll do, I switch into patois so the teachers couldn't understand me. We come back to English. And
Yeah.
so everybody was getting mad jokes in school because I could tell them where they could go and smoke. And I go in deep patois and then come back out and just talk about, some lunch thing happening on in the cafeteria. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how the style really got popular because I had to make sure the teachers didn't know what I was subliminally saying to
Saying.
the kids. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I see. And yo, like throughout the 90s, I remember like listening to the classic album, right? The Tough Dumpling album, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my brother was the one playing it, and we were playing it over and over because we're saying, "Yo, this reminds us like it reminds us of ourselves." Because you get what I mean. My parents are from Jamaica, but I was born in Canada, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we hardly heard like people used to put it in the raps or in America and up here like a little patois, but this was authentic to us. This is real, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, to this day, no one even talks about the stuff that's on that record. Because in that record, I was talking about what it's like when you come to Canada and you realize the teachers can't beat you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one, you never hear shit like that on a record. You know what I'm saying?
it's true. You had a mix of comedy too. That's what's missing from hip hop, I believe. Like the
Yeah, that
humor.
too. That too. I had the way of just making it funny and adding that charismatic feel to it. And what I liked was when I was paired with Quezro, it was interesting because me and Quezro was actually working on two different records we met up in the music room at school, and we were going back and forth, and this guy, I guess, so older cat, he had to come back to get some extra credits. I guess he failed high school and he needed to come back. So he had to come back for one class. And when he came back, he was hearing this rap shit. And he's like, yo, I got a studio across the street. So me and Quezzo would go to the studio back and forth. But what would happen was we were on there different days. And when we played back all of the records, I had one verse, he had one verse. None of the songs were ever finished.
I see.
So we became a crew because we didn't want to write a full song. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
It was almost just like, yo, let's just be on the same record because I hate writing two verses and we just start to fuse them. If people check on their first single, it was called No Chorus because we had two verses and then we were like, oh, we got to make a chorus now? And so the first line,
No chorus.
our first single was called No Chorus.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was straight vibe. Like all of the whole shit is vibe. And I think people hear that in the record. They could tell that half of the time we're just chilling, cracking jokes. And I think that's what made it so dangerous to all of the rappers in Toronto because they were so serious and so, yo, I'm going to do it like this. And then I just walk on and I say, Aki and Banana, and the crowd just fell out laughing. like I didn't even one punchline.
I'm going to mark that down because when I say like the foundation of all these artists, what I see give tribute to, much respect to them, right? Like Danny O's, the Maestros, the Mishi Me's, and everybody. I remember basically you were near the time, I wouldn't say like the time when everything was kind of changing like that. So you're right. You brought that different type of energy. And and after that, Toronto, to me, after you like remembering like the last, I would say, highlight of Toronto artists before this new school, right? I remember Tough Dumpling and only a few. I mean, like if you're a hip hop head from Toronto, besides like, because I think I was in high school, so I'm counting my time. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was hearing you. So if I was in high school, and that's when Tupac and all of those brothers were still around, you get what I mean? The last of that before we got BET. That's to show you that you still, I don't know, I'm giving you your flowers now. You deserve it. and the brother who's, you know. A lot of people forgot about Tough Dumpling because to me, Colonel Official had the slang, Bacardi slang, but it was you to me, it was you guys who I heard really.
I think what happened when I was on the Mastermind mixtape. DJ Mastermind put out a mixtape, and that was the first time me and Cardi was on a same album. And then when people heard the Patois and they were like, yo, this guy is like real Yachty, like, you know? So it was one of those. And then that's when I got the call to do the track with Fife. Because I think originally they had Cardi in mind. It was going to be Cardi, Red One. But then when everybody reacted to the Mastermind mixtape, like, yo, go with Tough Dumpling. Like, dude, he's going to bring that yacht thing for real, you know? And so that's where I felt like everybody was trying to compare the two. And then, because realistically, everybody had one or two lines in Patois. I was like one of the few guys who went straight from concept and kept the whole lyrics in Patois without ever coming out of English. You're going into English. So I think that set a tone. So when Cardi came and he was like going straight, he had the bigger deal. So it made it seem like, okay, maybe he came first. But realistically, a lot of people in Toronto Mishi would do it. But everybody came from a different angle. You know, if we sat at the table right now, the Patois stories that we're putting in our slang were different. And mine was on some next shit. I wasn't just saying the slangs that people know. I was just telling the whole random story. You know what I'm saying?
But I now that I'm looking on it, right, because Caribbean culture is very influenced in Toronto. That made you and Cardi and some others is the influence. Jamaican culture, let's be honest, is the influence to a lot of Toronto hip hop, because even how people talk in their
Yeah,
slang, like
yeah,
the
all
slang
the slang.
now,
Yeah,
especially now, you see how Drake uses it in his music,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
For
No, for
example,
sure. I'm seeing it. Mhm.
that came from you and Cardi and Mishi Me, and you get what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
he was listening. People don't forget, we come from a city of real hip hop.
yeah. No, for sure.
A lot of people don't hear that too much. You get what I mean? And I'm glad I have someone like you on here to make people know that Toronto bred MCs from time. Even though there's, we're seeing a lot of the youth do different things. There's
Yeah,
always been people with bars, lyrics, and you know what I mean. Like when you see people come from here, it's hard work when
yeah.
you're doing
No, for
when you're
sure.
doing music.
And I think for me, I ended up being behind the scenes, so I was mixing a lot of records, I was producing a lot of records. So
Mm-hmm.
when we first came out, we caused such a trouble that it was hard for anybody to really mess with us. Because I don't think people realize Toronto's a grant-based system. So a lot of the artists played nice so they could get grants. And we were making
Yes.
fun of all the artists that were getting grants and making fun of the grant system. So people would walk up to me and be like, yo, Nefarious is dope, man. Yo, is there a way could I support you? And I go, oh, yo, could you get me a grant for a video? They're like,
Mm.
oh, that's not going to happen. No one will do that. And what people didn't realize was the Tough Dumpling vinyl that came out, that was a record label in Jersey. There was
Mm.
no one would touch us at the time, even though we caused such a buzz. It was just like everybody in the industry was just like, "Yo, we can't get funding for these guys. They're just too raw and they're unpredictable."
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to our records, you can't tell what we're gonna do next because we could go off the hinges and make fun of anybody at any time. You
See
know,
now,
because we had
sorry.
battle rapping on lock because of the way we
Exactly.
were able to joke around. It made it deadly because we could
Mm-hmm.
just make someone just laugh at you out the blue. You know what
That's true. That's true. So, like, not it's interesting that you're talking about that. Don't you feel? I feel that's one reason certain artists can't really, like, it's still, that system's still in. You gotta kind of make your music attractable to the
I'm saying?
to the market, right?
Yeah.
Even
Hmm.
though we see in Toronto how it is now. I'm gonna get to that question, right? But
Yeah.
if you're not basically going by the rules, you're not going to get through, basically, on the radio too. I know
Yeah.
if people know the politics. You
Yeah.
have to have a commercial, like there is the one what you have what's not commercial, but you have to have a commercial version of your music
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that still, believe it or not. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think about the new generation? I know you've been seeing things over the years. There's good talent in every generation, but what do you think about how it is now for Toronto?
Um, I think it was the same as back in the day for me, where I think my first realization what was going on in Toronto was Master P. When I first heard of Master P, I was just like, what is this Southern stuff? How come I never heard it? And
Mm-hmm.
then what got me crazy was it went triple platinum before I ever heard it. So I was just like, so I went on this journey thinking that you could go platinum in Toronto without anybody ever hearing you. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they showed me the numbers of how much people is actually in Canada, even though Canada is big, so
Yeah,
if you compare Canada to the amount of people in New Orleans,
yeah.
the whole of Canada, I still couldn't go platinum. And New Orleans, someone could go platinum triple times. And
Yes.
then that gave me the scale. And once I looked at that scale, I was like, oh, shoot. You know, you still are limited because then just not enough people. So I think what ends up happening, you get to a point where everybody gives you props and you got something going, but there's just not enough people to fulfill to get to the
Infrastructure.
American level. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
infrastructure. We need the infrastructure.
Yeah, we
That's what I
don't.
mean.
I don't know if it's the infrastructure, just sheer amount of people. You get what
Support.
I'm saying? It's I
And
think I just think it's just the amount of people. So you can reach people from here, but it had to be broadcast from the U.S. You get what I'm saying?
I see
And
what
if
you're
you
saying.
look at Drake, Drake was here the whole time. No one talked about Drake until he was broadcast in the U.S. The U.S. broadcast him back to Canada, and Canada go, he's Canadian. It was Drake was sitting here all the time rapping. I have demos of Drake on it. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
No
It's
one was
true.
paying attention. Lil Wayne, speaking about the whole Southern thing, Lil Wayne and that whole crowd and the money and the energy and the people brought all that credibility back because everybody's just like, this got the stamp of approval from America in some
So what?
way.
So that
So,
means my argument of the marketing, like artists from here, not really argument. This is what I put out there, that you should be trying to market to the market what you're trying to get into. You know what I
yeah, but
mean?
I think there's different levels of it because
No, yeah.
I feel like if you're here and you could get funding to do a little tour, get your thing, you need all of that stuff. You just got to know when to graduate from that. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
people think, oh, yeah, go to the States and make it big. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is build up your liquor studio, get
Yeah.
your production on point, get your style on point, build within a thing. And when you're ready, when your package is tight, then try to present it to a bigger scale and a bigger audience. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true,
And
but
I
they
think
don't go through those steps.
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
um, you could just jump out the gate and just post
Yeah.
online, but
Yeah.
you're not getting any tours, you're not getting any shows. I did a big show in New York maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and everybody on that set had you to be on that show, you had to have 1 million views and over. Some guy snuck me on. I performed, I rocked the show. Everybody's just like, yo, who's this kid? He don't have 1 million views. Everybody who had 1 million views couldn't perform. They were so busy trying to watch numbers that they never hit. They didn't know how to hold a mic properly. There was feedback. And it was the
But
one
now,
who didn't have any views that mash up the show. You know what I'm
but hey,
saying?
you know what? You got you. I'm putting you in it now. Now, there's a lot of artists like that. There's a big percentage like that. What you explained, what's promoted for our scene now. So they have. Since you're saying that, remember what you just said. They're having something called Rolling Loud. Finally, Toronto is recognized globally.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
you think a lot of these artists should get ready, like what you're saying, sharpen their tools? Because honestly, a lot of these young artists, not hating, they have not performed. I've never seen showcases with all these top people, what these blog pages are promoting. I've never seen a show, like a show
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them doing it.
I mean, that's practically what's going to keep you in the game. You know what I'm saying? Live shows is always important. A lot of because you got to keep in mind the money you make from your merch. Like, so if you put a song on Spotify, right? It's like you're getting a couple cents, and you have to move 1 million just to make a couple of dollars, right? Just a couple of dollars. Now, I did like
Yes.
even my show. At my show, I was selling my vinyl. I was selling it for $50. Even if one person buy it, I make
It's
more
more.
than I could make off Spotify. That yeah, of 1 million spins. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah. Come down.
it's almost like a weird Rubik's cube where you got to play all the sides, but you got to find a balance between, okay, I'm trying to get a lot of views here. I'm trying to move a lot of records live. And so I think it's like a kind of little song and dance thing you got to do with it. But you
But for your
definitely, I think
pocket, for
you got to get the show game up because if you really want to move units, you're going to make more money at the shows than just watching your views. You know what I'm saying?
exactly, because that's where you could sell. That's where I think it's coming back to. That's where you could sell your records, your physical
Yeah.
record. I know.
And,
That's
and,
where you
and
could sell your
t-shirts, like
merch.
t-shirts and stickers. I went to a show the other day. They're selling stickers for $25 and people are buying it,
Smart.
because they were like, yo, I'm trying to support the artists. And we know, you're not like everybody's onto Spotify right now. They know if you keep playing their song over and over, that artist ain't really getting paid. So they're going to show up to your show and try to support. I mean,
So
even at my show, I gave away a ton of records. So I didn't expect, when I went to the merch table, they're like, yo, you gave everybody a free record, and everybody came back and bought another record. And I was like, yo, I can't beat that kind of like support. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Versus, I don't know
Marketing
where
is
to
very
get
important.
that kind of support on Spotify, you know?
No, because listen, it's an illusion, really. To me, I don't want to even. I won't get too much into it, but right now, it's better that you're more keep it limited, because when you're limited, right, people
Yeah,
will cherish your art more.
yeah, yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? Like I recently, I believe like all digital platforms is good to promote your commercial tracks, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
I agree. I'm on the
your
same page.
your full body of work, put it out on your own website or somewhere where it's limited and you're going to benefit
I'm with
making
you on
dollars
that.
for your
Mm,
pocket.
yeah,
the whole the whole thing is
totally
you.
agree with you on that. That's totally how I'm moving. That's why people be sending me like, yo, I don't have this. I'm like, you're not going to get it on the digital platform. Because I know
Mm,
most of the songs, they're showing up in other places. And the way I did the vinyl, when you get the vinyl, it comes with a card that gives you downloads of the song and
smart,
videos. So
smart.
you get the download and video all in one, and you really ain't got to worry about. I try to keep everything up. It's like the vinyl is the key to get the digital part.
Smart. That's how you have to do it. Marketing. That's something similar I'm doing with my recent project myself is merch. It's album merch. So basically you purchase the merch and the albums with it. You can purchase anything, teacups, anything,
Yep,
t-shirt.
yep. You just
It's all
gotta
in
keep it
there.
simple like that. Because I mean, if the labels got this thing on lock, I mean, they invested so much in Spotify that they mainly benefit now. You know, so there's a
Mm,
lot less commercial labels, but the ones that are running it, they're making bank right now.
mm.
They're all
So
part of so that whole system of it.
recently you had an event though, like you that was your release for your vinyl, right? You had it
Yeah,
just recently.
yeah, it's
How's
a
that?
limited. Oh, the event was great, man. Like so many people came out, and the vibe was just nice. I mean, a lot of people traveled out of town because they were like, "Yo, I don't know when I ever gonna see another show." So I was like, people were coming from Ottawa, Montreal. People drove down out of nowhere, you know. But I was like, so I had to give respect because I was just like, "Yo, it's a track," and I make sure everybody got a record and just vibe out. You know what I'm saying? And this record was more of I just wanted to keep Quadro, like you said, her name generally is not on the list when you hear Canadian. If you say Tough Dumpling, they'll say yeah, but they won't bring it up otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Someone has to say that it's there. So I know with the whole nefarious thing, I always want to make sure Quadro's name stays alive in this game because I know
Mm,
a lot of people. He was definitely one of the foundations as far as spitting the bars and kicking freestyles. And I mean, he could just freestyle for hours, just go straight
mm.
on, you know what I'm saying? And so that kind of lyricism, I think it was one of the top coming out of the '90s, you know. But I
And you
feel like because we were so like called the trouble crew, most people in the industry generally will shy from bringing her name up, you know what I'm saying? Just because they thought
uh
we caused too much trouble back in the day. I mean, I got on the argument on live radio with Mishi, and I was banned off the power move. And
oh
then,
shit.
yeah, and then Flo, I had this line where I go, I leave you off girl like white girl. I leave you off beat like white girls who dance on electric circus.
Oh
And
shit.
one of the guys who was on Flow, I guess he was part of the whole electric circus scene that's high up. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're not playing no nefarious record. So
Mm-mm.
then I got banned from there. So then Master T got me on Much Music. And then typically Much Music, they only open the front gate for like big celebrities. And back then
Yeah.
it was like only open it for, Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake or something. But
Mm.
Master T opened that grill, and there was a fan base out there ready to listen to my music. And Much Music was like, wait, how we open a grill for a guy that doesn't have a music video? You know what I'm saying? And it was almost like, you know, Master T got, big him up. He pushed for me
That's
to
a, he's your
get some shine
foundation
on
too.
that show. But then I got banned from that too. So I mean, I pretty much got banned from almost all the major outlets coming out in the 90s. But just to give you perspective, we dropped our first single probably around 95, 96. My first official music video dropped last year.
Oh shit.
No music industry is my first video that ever came out. So for the span of time since 96 to 2001, there was no music video. It's all lyrics. So for people to even mention my name in the game based on all the lyrics we've dropped over that time, I give power to that, because when you say like man's like Cardi, if you're saying man's like Cardi and you're saying my name in the same sentence, and he has almost 50 music videos by now, and I only dropped my first. I just got a bunch lined up because I had to put it together for this record. But that means, the lyrics stood the test of time. You know what I'm saying? Because I get
Right.
blessed up.
Man, I know this is the blueprint, because many others are gonna be calling you now. I know. You're gonna be seeing everybody wants an interview from Tough Dumpling, MC Colizion, because it's like a jewel. It's an honor to be interviewing a legend and this is the definition, Toronto, of an MC. You look him up and you know what I'm talking, and I know my hip hop, right? You know
I
what I
hear
mean?
you.
I know my hip hop. So, I'm just saying, it's good to see that you're still here doing your thing behind the scenes with the music,
Yeah.
and like, this is a classic, and a
Yeah.
gem for people to really listen to.
And I branched out over the years. So, just a quick backstory. After I left, I moved to New York, and then I really got into bunch of film stuff. So the film that I got out now is called Divide. I'm working with Film Cloud Studios out of New York, and the flex was dope. The moment we linked, it was just like, yo, let's do some heavy production and get some stories told. And it's interesting because we're casting all these people in New York, and we were looking for actors that were over like 60 and up. And we had a lot of people, in that age group, and they were like, we've never seen a black production team. I'm like, this is New York. What do you mean there's no black production team in New York? And they're like, these guys been doing movies since they were in their 30s, and they're in their 60s now, telling you like we're the first black production team that they actually see, where we're talking about from script writers to lighting guys to camera guys. And I was just like shocked. We did the film, and the film won 11 awards. We won 6 in Europe this year. We won another 3 in Miami. We got Jersey. And I just locked down one into Toronto Film Festival. So I'll be back in July to push that film out in Toronto. So, so if you see me on some next level,
You'll be on
everything
some next level
is
thing.
going to be in that film world. So
you're gonna be on some next level thing. Everybody's gonna be calling, man. Trust me.
So
You're a legend yourself. Everybody be coming at you right now.
I just try to like get these stories out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not. I consider myself more of a storyteller. More than that's why I feel like I've never I'm a rapper, because even if you listen to all my songs, even Pondering was about a story. I was talking about Toonie Tuesdays. Remember, back in the day, Tuesdays is the only time you could go to a movie because it was cheap. And I was like, I didn't realize listening back to those records, I was like, yo, I'm telling the landscape from City TV. I'm actually rapping the landscape that we're in at the time.
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
The city soundtrack.
And so on this new album, I definitely brought a lot of creative stories of telling, different stories. So on the first side is the Aki side. And the Aki side mostly in patois, and then the banana side is in English. And you
English.
know, Aki's more obscure, so it makes sense to put the
On
patois
the
on the
morning.
Aki side. Everybody
Sunday
know what
morning.
banana is, so I just
Mm,
so
mm.
that's the flex. And you can pick it up at Play the Record if you're in Toronto, and then it'll start. It'll be up on toughdumpling.com starting next week for anybody who want to grab
Yeah.
it. So
Much
that's the
respect,
story.
man.
Yeah, man.
Much respect. Tough Dumpling for coming through on the Down to Earth legend. Legend. This is a gem. I want people to check out his music, get the vinyl, all digital platforms, wherever it's available. Yo,
Yeah.
I see big things coming for you. I see more interviews, of course. We're setting the standard right here, you know? It's a great, great interview, man. Much
All right.
respect.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Down to
Thanks for
Earth.
having me. Big up.
Big up. Bless.
Magan.